Alrighty, welcome to part two. So next thing we want to do here is I'm going to come back here and I added something. This isn't a CSS class, so I don't expect you to, well, I am going to expect you to style this and make it your own, but just to get kind of started out, I'm going to give you this CSS file. So what I come here is just right click and do save link as. Okay, and I'm going to go out to my desktop, go over to my project, go into CMS, go into public, then style sheets, and that's where we're going to want it. Okay, so your project folder, go into public, then go into style sheets, and that's where we're going to save the CSS file. Okay, so public, style sheets, there it is. All right, now we got to embed that inside of our index for the staff page. So it's like a typical CSS page. So link rel equals style sheet. Okay, and then href. Now brackets helps us out a little bit. So we need to go, wait a minute, where is this? We're inside of staff, right? So so there is no style sheets folder in here. So we got to go up a folder. Okay. So going up, so we have to go back out of staff. So we go up to public, then we go into style sheets, and then we load staff. So to go up a folder, it's just .. / right? So then we can go into style sheets, then we can load staff. Okay. So we save that. Let's see. I don't know if this is going to work because I don't know if it uploaded the CSS or not. We will see. We'll refresh. Okay, and it looks like it didn't. So really, probably what we can do here is I'm just going to go back up into FileZilla. What I could do is probably open the CSS in here and then just save it, and that would upload it for me, but I don't know. Kind of weird. I'd rather just do it this way. So I got style sheets up inside of FileZilla, and I'm going to click and drag staff.css inside of style sheets and get that uploaded. Okay, so now that it's there, when we refresh, we should see the styling. Now this is dang ugly. I get it. So like I said, later on, I'm going to expect, probably going to be one of the last things we'll do. We'll see. But later on, we're going to have to style this. If you want to go ahead and style it now, go for it. But yeah, and then you can see, there's the footer. I scroll down a little bit, and then there it is. All right. Okay. Cool. All right, now we're going to do some includes and requires and stuff like that. If include is just a way to take external PHP files and put them inside of, so you can create different parts of PHP and then include them in other PHP files. So we're going to go to initialize right in here inside of shared. Okay, and I'm going to create a PHP tag. And I'm going to do require once. What that means is it goes out to load it only one time, and it'll load it once, load everything it needs, and then it will not load again. Okay, and what I want is functions.php. Because later on what we're going to do is create a bunch of functions inside of here that we're going to be using throughout the whole project. So initialize is going to take all those functions and all of that code and throw it in so we can use it. Okay, now because functions and initialize are in the same spot, I don't have to put any folders or any weird things there. Okay, so now that inside of initialize, I'm going to be loading the functions, I want to load initialize inside of the staff page. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the index file of staff. Okay, we're back here. And I'm at the top, I'm going to throw in that file. So require once. No, I need to go to initialize, right? So I'm inside of staff, so I got to think of how I'm going to do this. So I'm inside of staff, so I need to go up to public. Then I have to go up again to my main project folder. Then I have to go into private. Then I have to go into initialize. So ///, then go inside of private, and then load initialize.php. Okay, and because I'm saying require, if it can't find this, it's gonna throw an error at me. And that being said, that's actually another thing I wanted to talk about. So if we go back to the cPanel, I'm going to scroll down to, and this is just going to make it so if we run into problems, we'll be running into the same problems. So I'm going to, where is it? There it is. So select PHP version. So you want to open that. So I'm using 5.6. I would make sure you're using that as well. It may already be set to native 5.6. If you do that, it's actually going to be a little bit different than mine. So just make sure you pick the actual 5.6. Okay, and then make sure you hit save there. And then you'll want to go to switch to PHP options. Okay, and display errors, you want to make sure is on. You would want to turn that off like after it's done and everything's working, but what this allows is so whenever there's an error, it'll just show up on the page and you don't have to go to any error logs or anything like that. It's just it'll display the errors on the page. And you're definitely going to want that. And for now, that's going to be it. So just make sure that display errors is on, then come down here and hit save, and then you'll be on your way. Good. Okay, cool. So get rid of that. Alrighty. And I say that because now if it goes out there and tries to get initialized and can't, it'll throw an error and nothing will load. So if I accidentally, misspell that and I save it, we're going to go load the staff. Now we get these errors saying, hey, initialize doesn't exist. So if I come back here, save, okay, and then I refresh, it should be good. All right, cool. Now, the reason why we're grabbing initialize is because initialize is going to have some code in it, and also we can see that initialize is embedding everything that's inside of functions. So initialize is going to be kind of this one file that just kind of grabs everything, brings it together, and then we're going to go into the home page of the staff page, and we're putting all of that code inside of here so we can use it. Right? Okay, so now we'll grab this code inside of staff. And I'm going to copy it. Oh, wait. Nope, just kidding. This is kind of getting in my way. All right, so now what we're going to do is use some includes. And those are pretty cool. So we're going to be creating different pages, and every page is going to have the same stuff on it. Every page is going to have a title, every page is going to have a navigation. So on every page, there's going to be certain things that'll show up on every one of those pages. Well, the problem is you're going to get 10, 15, well, not in this project, but if you get 10, 15, 20 different pages that all have the same thing on it, well, if you do an include and you create a separate PHP file that, contains the header and the footer, well, if you change it in that one spot and all those other files depend on that and pull that in, well, you change it in that one spot and now you just changed it from all of the different other pages. So we're going to create an area that's going to have the stuff that shows up on every page, and then we'll have every page pull from that template basically and pull it in. All right, so what we're going to do is create those. So I'm going to take from doc type down. Actually, let me double check my notes really quick here. Yep. All right, so from doc type down all the way down to the closing navigation. So I'm going to take all of that, go down to the closing navigation tag, and I'm going to cut it. So Command X or Control X. Okay, and I'm going to save that. Okay, and I'm going to create another file inside of the shared here. So I'm going to come to shared, I'm going to right click and go new file. Okay, and I'm going to call this staff header.php. Okay, and this is going inside the shared folder. Okay, and I'm going to just paste it in there. So now I have kind of this template that is going to be the header of the staff page. So if I have multiple pages that pull from this, all I got to do is change it here, and then all of those pages will update. Okay, so inside of shared, I'm going to create another file, and I'm going to call it staff footer. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to the index of staff, and I'm going to grab the footer code, just that. Cut it, come back here to staff footer, and throw it in there. Oh, you know what? I'm going to grab this as well, the opening and closing tags. So that's going to go inside a staff footer as well. Okay. So now I'm kind of dividing them up into pieces. Well, now if I go to index, right, it's going to kind of freak out a little bit just because I just took everything out, right? So now I got to go into the index page, and I got to say, well, take these separate PHP files that I just created and include them inside of yourself, basically. Okay, so right under the initialize, I'm going to create another PHP. I'm going to say require. Oh, nope, not require. Include. Basically says embed, right? So I have to tell it where it's at. Okay, well, we're inside of index.php, inside of staff. So we're right here. And now we're telling it we got to go into shared and we got to grab the header. So we have to go, oops, this is not it. So we are in staff. Okay, so we have to go up 1, up 2, go inside of private, go inside of shared, and then grab the header, right? So go up 1, go up 2. Okay, that'll take us up into here, and then we go into private, we go into shared, and then we grab staff header.php. All right, so that'll put it there in the page. So it will require, it'll run, and it'll embed initialize.php. Then it goes out there and grabs staffheader.php and puts it into the page. Then it will throw the div in onto the page. Okay, and then the next thing we want it to do is put in the footer, right? So include, well, I'll just copy this because it's going to be basically the same. So instead of staff header, staff footer. Okay, now if everything's been uploading the way we're hoping it is, well, I don't know. Yeah, those should have uploaded because I had them inside of brackets. So we should be good now. Let's take a look. Yeah, looks exactly like how it did before. But now we've separated it, so if we have a bunch of pages using staff header and staff footer with includes, right? With includes like this, if I come inside of here and change it here, it'll then update on all the whole website. Okay, right now it's not really that big of a deal because we only have one page index using these includes. But if we were to have 5, 6, 7 pages all using the staff header and staff footer, then it's going to become a lot more powerful. Okay, now we're going to go back to the index page of staff. Okay, and right up, let's see, right here, I'm going to set up a variable called page title. Okay, and I'm going to set it equal to slothful staff menu. Okay, now all I'm showing here is we've set up this variable called slothful staff menu. And now that we've loaded it here inside of index, I can use it inside of this include. This include, it treats it as if the code is on this page basically. So I can go back to staff header, and on the title, I can say, well, throw in some PHP there, echo variable page title, and that's it. Okay, so now when I come back here and load it, we should have this change up here. Okay, slothful staff menu. So it's kind of cool how you can set up variables and such on the page that's including everything, and then in the includes, you can use those variables that were set up on a completely different page. So it's kind of cool. So we can kind of see how it gets processed. As this variable gets set up, the include happens, all the code gets put on there, and then it treats it, like I said, if it was on the same page. Okay, and another thing we can do is we can come up to the staff header here, and we can set up, this is just kind of a check if we want to. Oops. Go, we can say, there's this function called is set. So if is set, if it's not, that's what the exclamation point. So it's basically saying if page title is not set. Okay, in other words, like if it doesn't have a value, if the variable doesn't have a value in it, it's empty. Okay, if it's not set, then we can set the page title to be something. So, you know, slothful staff or sagacious sloth SS, right? Staff area. Okay, and that's on the staff header. So if I load that, it's not going to do anything because, well, page title is set. But if I come over here, right, and I don't set it, I can just, you know, erase that for now. Okay, and we reload. It's SS staff area because page title wasn't set. It wasn't equal to anything. So this is how you can kind of default to something if a variable isn't set. That's used a lot with PHP. This is set function. So just kind of be aware of that. It's pretty cool. Okay, so now we're going to go back into staff. I'm going to grab all this code. I'm going to copy it. And we're going to go into subjects. Okay, and we're going to do the index.php inside of subjects. So if you double click in brackets, it'll bring it up here. Okay, because the index page of subjects is going to be pretty much the same. Okay, but instead of the page title being staff menu, I'm going to say slothful subjects. All right, now let's take a look at this. So subjects, index.php. So staff, instead of staff, it's going to be subjects. right? Let's make sure I have this right. Nope. Oh yeah, it's inside of staff. So staff subjects. There we go. Okay. Now we're getting some issues. Require once, private initialize failed to open. Okay, so it couldn't find initialized. Okay, well, why? Right? Well, we're inside of staff. We're inside of subjects, right? We're messing with this. So we told it to go up one, so it goes into staff, and go up another one, go into public, and then go into private. Well, private isn't there. We have to go up one more to get to private, right? So we can start to see that like this whole path stuff is starting to get a little crazy. Trying to remember all these dot slashes and stuff. So there is something we can do that's kind of helpful. We can go into initialize and we're going to set up some kind of like global variables that are going to help us with these paths. Okay, so we can say define. I'm going to call this variable basically private path because this is going to be the variable that'll take us to this private folder. Okay, and the way we can do that is we use this thing called directory name or dir name underscore file underscore underscore. So those are two underscores there. Okay, so what this is doing is the define method sets up a variable, okay, in the first parameter, and the second parameter just defines what that variable is going to have inside of it. Okay, so we're setting up a variable called private path, and what's going to be saved in that, let me bring this up. Okay, we're in initialize, so let's head over to initialize. Okay, and this is saying, okay, whatever file this is, get the directory name of it and store it inside a private path. Well, the file that we're working on is initialize, so file is actually initialize, and directory name is the directory that this file is in, which is private, right? So inside a private path, it's storing the path basically to the private folder. Okay, so private path is going to be equal to the private folder. So now instead of going dot slash whatever, I can just type in private path and it's going to take me directly to the private folder, which is cool. Okay, so we want to set up some more of these. So define, the next one's going to be project path. Okay, and the directory name of that is going to be private path. And I need another parenthesis there. Oops. There we go. Okay, so it's setting up a variable called project path, and it's taking the directory of whatever private path is in. Well, what the heck is private path in? Well, private path is the private folder, right? Right here. What's the folder that the private folder's in? Oh, it's in the CMS folder, which is the project folder, like the root folder of the project, right? So project path is basically equal to the CMS folder. Okay, cool. Next thing we're going to set up is public path. So we just have to basically think of, okay, what are all the different folders that we would need to use? And then we'd set them up here. Okay, so, this isn't going to use directory name because we've kind of already defined the two important directories, and we've defined CMS and we've defined private, and okay. So what I'm going to do here now is we're going to say project path, right, which is the CMS folder. We're going to concatenate or add on to it slash public. So now public path is going to be the project path, which is CMS / public. Okay. We'll do the last one, which is similar. So I just copied and pasted. We're going to do shared path. Okay, and that's going to take us to, well, how do we get to shared, right? Well, shared goes into private, and then it goes into shared. So, well, private is stored inside a private path. So, private path / shared. Okay, and now that this is set inside of initialize, over here where we throw in initialize, we can start using it, right? Okay, now here's the thing. Well, I'll show you in a minute. So now we can come in here and we can say, all right, what the heck? Okay, now we can come in here and go, okay, well, this is going into shared, right? And we set up an initialize shared path as shared path, so we can come in there and start using that. So I can come in here and I can say, all right, well, basically all of this is going to be shared. So I can say shared. Oh, wait, no. It's going to be outside of it. So shared path, because it's a variable, and we're going to concatenate onto that / staff header.php. So that will take us directly to shared and load staff header.php. Okay, we can kind of do the same thing here. This is in shared as well, so shared path, concatenate that, get rid of all this, / staff footer.php. Okay, so we can take a look at this, see if it works. So subjects, hit enter. Okay, maybe. Oh, so yeah, initialize is still broken. Now, you may be thinking, well, can't we just go, all right, so initialize is inside of private, right? So can't we just go private path here? Well, let's try it, right? So you would think you'd be able to just say, okay, let's go private path, concatenate, get rid of that, save, do a dance, right? This is totally going to work. No, it says private path is undefined. Well, that's because, inside of initialize, this is where all of this starts, and this is where all of this is defined. So whenever we put inside of initialize, we always have to have the direct path to it, because that's where it gets loaded. Private path doesn't exist until we embed initialize inside of here, and we get control, or we get access to all of these variables that we defined. So that's why that doesn't work. So this is always going to have to be the direct link to initialize. Okay. So this is the direct link to it. We embed initialize, which then defines all of those variables. And now that all those variables are defined, we can start using them. Okay. So this should work now, hopefully. Yay. Okay. Now, of course, you can see the CSS is broken because if we go back to, let's see, staff header, it's telling us to go in there, which doesn't exist inside of there, so that's broken. We're going to fix that later. Okay. Okay. Okay, now we're just going to head back to staff and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to copy this. So staff, just going to go here, bam, throw that quote in there. Throw that in there, throw in the quote. So now staff and subjects should both be working. So subjects we already checked. Now if we go back to staff, okay, it's still working, good, even though we put in these new variables. So that's awesome. Okay, so that's about as far as we're gonna go, okay, for this week. There's enough to set up and then there's enough to do here, but that's as far as we're gonna go. So what you need to turn in here is just come in here, click on week 1, scroll down, click turn in here. Okay, and then we're going to reply to the thread. And what I'm going to need is just really to be, I guess, give me the 2 ones. So copy the staff one. So give me the staff link, the one that has the CSS working on it. And then also give me your subjects page. So give me that as well. Okay, and this is worth 50 points. Just to show them, this is going to show me a bunch of stuff. One, that you have your host set up, right, and your domain's working and all that, and you're able to upload and all that. It's also going to show me that you're as far as you need to be. Okay, get that done. This is going to be due basically Monday of next week. All the assignments that have due dates will be due at the beginning of the week. And I will do my best to make sure these videos are posted on Monday or before. Okay, if I ever don't post these, if I post them on like a Wednesday or something, I'll definitely have some more mercy on the due dates and stuff. But just know, when things are due, I don't accept late work. So just make sure you get this stuff in. So this is one assignment. If you don't get it in on time, you'll get a 0. But if you still finish the full project, you're not going to fail the class. Okay. Anyway, so get that in there, get those 2 links, the staff page and the subjects page, make sure those are there, and then just hit post. Okay. Any questions that you have, please talk to me. You can always go to roster and just check my name and then do email. Okay, that's one way to get a hold of me, or just email me at dkid@ai.edu. All right, guys, have an awesome week this week. And any questions, let me know, and we will see you next week. Bye.